Hello, my name is Vera Prytkova. I'm a research and application scientist at CCDC. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to set up descriptors in Hermes. Descriptors are chosen to quantify molecular features. The descriptor you define can be then calculated for a library of docked ligands, and the complete set of descriptors can be saved for future use. Note that descriptors are relevant for the protein and docked ligand components of the set of docking solutions, and not for the waters, metal ions, cofactors, or nucleic acid chain components. To calculate the descriptors, go to the top menu of descriptors and click on Define. You see that many possible options exist here. Let us start with Add Simple Descriptor. You can change the descriptor name. Let's name it Simple Descriptor. And then we can take a look at the properties we can calculate. We can calculate ligand properties such as molecular weight, rotatable bond count, number of donatable hydrogen bonds, or number of hydrogen bond acceptors. We can actually calculate quite a few of them at once. Then we can take a look at the protein properties. We can calculate the number of buried donatable protein hydrogens not forming the hydrogen bond and a few other properties. And then we have protein ligand contacts. So we can calculate the number of ligand atoms forming hydrogen bonds and number of ligand atoms forming bad clashes. We can write additional information to the output files. In this case, the number and labels of atoms involved in the various property counts will be output. So once we decide we're done, we can click on Define, and then we can go to see what other descriptors are like. So we also have the General Contact Descriptor. This can be used to characterize the contacts formed by one or more nominated atoms in the protein to particular types of atoms in the ligand. We have to choose the protein subset, either all atoms or atoms in this subset. We have available just the cavity atoms to calculate, but we can also define the new subset and choose the atoms we would like to have in it. Then we have to define the ligand atoms, either all atoms or the ones we have available, or also we can define the subset of ligand atoms. We can also choose whether for each selected protein atom to report if it forms a contact to any selected ligand atom, the number of contacts formed to selected ligand atoms, or details of contacts found to selected ligand atoms. And then we can have some output options here. Then we have hydrogen bond descriptor. Once again, we have to choose the subset for the protein atoms, the ligand types, and how we would like to report them. We also can edit the hydrogen bond definition here. Another useful descriptor would be the ligand surface area descriptor. A ligand surface area descriptor measures how much of a ligand is solvent inaccessible before and after docking. High affinity ligands may normally be expected to have a large contact surface area with the protein, so this may often be one of the more discriminating descriptors. We can restrict the calculation to ligand atom types of a particular type. We can also define our subset. We can control the speed of the calculation by changing the surface calculation precision and the solvent radius. And the last type of the descriptors would be the sphere volume descriptor. This can be used to determine whether a particular region of the binding site is occupied by ligand atoms. For example, you might want to do this if you believe that molecules are unlikely to be active unless they fill a specific pocket. To define this descriptor, we have to add a new sphere, and we can either put a coordinate for the center of the sphere, or we can use a centroid of the protein subset. In this case, it's cavity atoms, but we can also choose uh, several atoms in the protein viewer. Select these atoms, and this will allow us to put the centroid there. So once we define our descriptors, we can go to the descriptor tab here, and all of our descriptors will show up. We can edit the definition for the descriptor by right-clicking on it and edit the descriptor, or we can remove it from here. We can then calculate the descriptor by going to Descriptor, Calculate, and this will allow us to calculate it either from the file of ligands or for current docking solutions. Then we can click Run. I already have this file existing, so you can calculate it, and it saves in the CSV file, so you can open it up using any kind of viewer you have available, and you can see that all your descriptors get written in um, in a file like this. Thank you for your attention.